Hello, what is up gamers? Welcome back to the channel. As mentioned in the previous video, I'll be doing a guide for the new players that are coming to Honkai Star Rail in 2024. So before we dive deeper into the core mechanics of the game, let's do a brief roundup of what is Honkai Star Rail all about. Honkai Star Rail is your free-to-play gacha open world turn-based action RPG game. Quite a mouthful, but that really sums up the genre of the game. Of course, from the title of the game itself, there's another game that bears the similarity to this title. And the game that I'm referring to is Honkai Impactor, and that's because both games are developed by the one and only MiHoYo themselves. And also not forgetting Genshin Impact. So with the roundup out of the way, let's move on to the main content of the video. As I've mentioned before, Honkai Star Rail is your turn-based RPG game. You and your enemy AI will each take turns performing an action, which will last until all characters from either party are eliminated. And that's the gist of the game combat mechanics. While it may look simple, but trust me, there are a whole lot of tacticality and strategy involved as you progress further into the game. Now that we have gone over the game combat mechanics, let's move on to the most important aspect of the game, the characters. Apart from its dazzling visuals and animations, the character roles are responsible for bringing the core combat mechanics to life. So as you engage into the battle, you can see there are various enemies, and on top of them you can see they are indicated with these icons. These icons are called your elements, and each and every one of them are either weak to one or more elements. And that is where your character roles comes in. So starting the game, you'll be granted a character called the Trailblazer, which will be your MC/protagonist in this game. And as you progress, you'll be so-called granted with new characters that bears different elements, and each character bears only one type of element. So for in this game, there are 7 types of different elements, mainly fire, ice, wind, lightning, physical, imaginary, and last but not least, quantum, in which they provide different effects when you encounter your enemies. So now that we know that different characters harbors different elements, now we move on to the characters' combat roles. And like all turn-based RPG games, each character will have their own combat roles, generally from DPSs to healers. Similar to the element types, there are 7 different combat roles, which mainly are Destruction, Hunt, Erudition, Harmony, Nihility, Preservation, and last but not least, Abundance. And with that shapes the character's makeup in Honkai Star Rail, and of course not forgetting the visuals and animations. And as an action RPG game, the characters are not complete with their armors and weapons in this game. However, in Honkai Star Rail, the weapons and armors are of different forms. For in this case, your light cones are your weapons, whereas your relic and planar ornaments are your armors, which provides a boost to your character's overall HP, attack, defense, and maybe some extra skills to enhance your character even further, which definitely helps as you progress further into the game. Since it's a beginner's guide, I'll definitely lay out the simplest of all simples. Yeah, anyways, let's get to it. The first combat mechanics that I would like to introduce you to is skill points, which are located on the bottom right hand of your screen right here, which later on we'll see how these skill points play a role in using your character's abilities. Each and every character will all have 3 sets of abilities starting with the basic ability. This ability deals elemental damage to a single target. In doing so, you'll generate your skill points. Then we have the skill ability, which differs with different characters. Some deals greater damage while others provide buffs or heals for allies. However, this is where you'll consume skill points since it's an enhanced ability of the character itself. So plan using your skill points efficiently. Lastly will be your ultimates. There will be ultimate meters, which are these icons placed beside your character icon. In order to use your ultimates, you need to fill up this meter, which there are various ways in doing so. The most direct way of it is by using basic and skill abilities, while the not most direct way of it is getting attacked by your enemies, which again, depending on the character, the ultimates function differently in combat. Then on your left side of your screen shows you a list of all your characters and your enemies. This allows you to plan your moves and of course strategically take out your enemies efficiently. And lastly, you have your enemies info section, which placed on the top right of your screen, where you can inspect your enemy statuses as and when during the battle. And on a side note, yes, you can set your game on auto and increase the speed of the gameplay, which is located at the topmost right hand corner here. In this section of the video, we will now equip ourselves with the knowledge of the most important aspect of a free-to-play game, Gacha. So like all Gacha games, Honkai Star Rail has its own Gacha system, which in this section of the video, I'll run you through on how the Gacha system works and the terms you need to know as you pull for your favorite characters and light cones. First up, you need to know where to do your pulls. In this case, Honkai Star Rail has a warp section. This is the sections where you'll do your pulls. And in this section, there are what you call banners, which in general there are three kind of banners. Mainly your standard banner, your character limited banner, and your limited light cone banner. However, for those new players out there, there will be an additional banner called the departure banner. The game itself will give you 50 pulls, in which you can pull specifically on this banner, which within that 50 pulls, you'll be guaranteed a 5-star character. So after making that 50 pulls, you'll be wondering which banners are next on making your next pulls. But before all that, the currency and the PT system involved in this game. First up is your gacha currency and tickets. Your gacha tickets are the main currency when it comes to pulling your characters and your light codes, which are called special passes and standard passes. And these passes are catered to specific banners. More on that later. And in order to get these passes, you're gonna need to do some currency exchanges, which you are gonna need another type of currency. These are called Stellar Jades. And for every 160 Stellar Jades, you can exchange for one special or standard pass. These jades can be earned through various ways, from buying at the store to completing main story quests, limited events, and game modes. At the store, you can use embers where you'll get from pulling 3-star light cones. Then you have the starlights where you can get from pulling 4 or 5-star light cones, and also from duplicate 4 or 5-star characters. Now let's proceed on to the banners. Each standard banner will feature the same standard 5 characters, similar to that of the departure banner. And that banner itself will also feature standard light cones. Next, we have the character event banner and the light cone event banner, which features limited 5-star characters and light cones. These banners will change with every single update. In that same banner, it also features new and standard 4-star characters. Similar to the character event banner, the light cone event banner features its own 5-star light cone, including 4-star and 3-star light cones. Now that you have a rough idea of the currency and banners of the game, this is where the fun begins. Anyways, so like all gacha system, every gacha system has its own pull rates. But I won't bother you with all the rates and stuff like that. In fact, I'll explain you in terms of pulls, the number of pulls that you'll need or number of pulls that you need to pull to guarantee you a 5-star character. So you'll be doing your pulls means you'll be doing either single pull or multi-pull. Single pull means 1 pull and then multi-pulls will be 10 pulls per batch. And within those 10 pulls, you'll be guaranteed a 4-star character or light code, no matter which banner you're pulling from. So let's say you do your pulls and, for example, you count your pulls up to 80 pulls or below and you get a 5-star character, that means you have hit soft PT. However, if you get a 5-star character within up to 90 pulls, that's where hard PT applies to you. Of course, you want to hit soft PT all the time because it uses lesser pulls and you can save up the rest of your pulls for something like your icons in the future or characters in the future. Now on to the really fun part. So now that we know that the max number of pulls that is guaranteed for a 5-star character is up to 90 pulls, but here's the catch. The catch is that the 5-star character that you might get might not be the character that's featured in the character event banner itself. This is where the term 50-50 comes in. So it's either you win it or lose it. So that's why when you come to terms of winning 50-50 or losing 50-50 means that the first 90 pulls that you pull for that character event banner, you might or might not get it. And if you get it, that means you won your 50-50, and if you don't get it, that means you lose your 50-50. They all sound depressing, but there's also another caveat to it. So fingers crossed, if you do lose the 50-50 that you're pulling for the current featured character banner, and you change your mind to pull onto the next 5-star limited character banner, and for the next banner that you're pulling from first to 90 pulls, you are definitely guaranteed 100% the featured 5-star character. Well, by looking at the system, the game is just telling you, I'm sorry, try again later, and if you do, I'll definitely give you the character 100% for the next character banner. So which is all good, I guess. Of course, after getting that said character, the 50-50 will reset and the whole process will repeat itself again for the next character banner, which sums up the whole gacha system. And that's about it for the guide. You now have a basic idea how the game works, how the game combat works, and the simple know-how of the gacha system. So before I conclude the video, just a thought or two to share for the new players really. Don't fret yourself if you're pulling behind. Just enjoy the game for the first half or so. The game devs have constantly tried to improve the game in terms of quality of life update and the game in general. And I can say, and some of the experienced players will agree on me, the updates have been very good. So don't worry too much. And of course, finally, a complimentary advice. If you're pulling, pull for who you want and don't fret too much whether this character will do well or not. Because trust me, the character that you want will definitely have a spot in terms of meta or future integration into the world sooner or later. And of course, there are some exceptions. Yeah, I know this. That is all from me. If you find this video informative and you want to stick around for more informative Honkai Star Rail content, then don't forget to subscribe, turn on bell notifications as I'll be making more of these in the future. And speaking of the future, a heads up of another video dropping, and yes, it's catered to you all new players out there. So don't miss out on that, and as always, see you on the next video.